And welcome back to PRI. This is Prep Recruiting Insider here at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale. I'm your coach for PRI, Rick Gailey, along with our Prep Recruiting Insider, the I in PRI, Renee Nato. And we are once again joined by Coach Ron Roberts of the Southeastern Louisiana University Lions. Thank you once again, Coach, for being with us.
Thank you.
Well, we were talking about the recruiting class, and man, you hit a couple of home runs in this class. One guy that jumps out, a wide receiver who's going to have to replace Jeff Smiley, Jocko Price. But you had some guys that really have a chance to play early this year.
Yeah, I think we got several guys in Louisiana that were steals. I mean, I think Jocko Price was a guy that had a lot of FBS interest, a guy that had a lot of big schools on him, and just felt at home at our place. Crowley, young man, and I think I have really high expectations for him, what he's going to be able to do in our program. But then you look at, I think another one, there's Sumner High School, Kewan Lee, defensive back, who I think is a phenomenal football player. You look at defensive lineman Ron Cherry. Again, I think those are some local kids here that again will be fast contributors to our program.
And Ian Bryan out of Catholic at Baton Rouge.
Ian Bryan out of Catholic, yep.
An exceptional
Superdome
finalist.
Yep, we like those guys, the guys again that come from winning programs, guys that have been there in critical situations and performed at a high level doing it. And there's several, Aaron Kent here in New Orleans, young man. In the car, and so there's several kids I think we're very high about that are going to be great contributors.
And you got some great size, 6'5", 350, Chris Phillips, 6'2", 345, Jermaine Jones, and Alfred Beverly brings 6'4", 330 pounds to the offensive line. That is some beef.
Yeah, it is. It is some beef. We're going to, we like the big guys. We want to be a physical approach to how we play football on the offensive line and how we want to come after you. And those guys are the style of the guys we love to have up front, and we're looking for those type of guys.
And you've got a nice mix of players from your area because, as I know from being at St. James, how good Amite and Independence and St. Thomas Aquinas now and Kentwood, how good those schools are, and you've got a nice mix of players from those schools.
Yeah, we've really done well with kids even from our own parish, Tangible Parish, St. Tammany Parish. Those guys, we've really done a really good job with those guys, and we've had a lot of success with them, especially up in the northeastern part of the state there in Kentwood and Amite.
It starts practice March 8th. What are you looking to focus on? I know you want to improve in all areas, Ryan, but what areas are you specifically trying to focus on this
Well, we really always focus, obviously we want to get the scheme tight and want guys up to speed on that and make sure they know what to do. But the most important thing for me is make sure we're coaching the heck out of fundamentals, the technique, and the effort it takes to play the game. And that's the biggest thing. I think you got to get the speed of the game down and make sure that they're training at the speed they need to play at.
Because you mentioned that early in our discussion that you want your players to play fast. And that only happens when there's no hesitation, when they not only know their assignment in a book learning, but they can do it spatially. Talk about how the way that you practice and the way that you install, introduce, and practice, how that complements that philosophy that you want your players to play fast.
Oh, that's really the basis behind everything. Again, we want them to play with the fact that they're not afraid to make a mistake. We know they're going to make mistakes, but we want them not to be afraid to make a mistake and play with hesitant. We practice that in the tempo. We're not taking to the ground. I think in today's football, there's enough statistics showing you out there. If you're tackling, take kids to the ground, you're going to create injuries and those type of things. And obviously the head's important. We're going to practice everything at full speed, and we're talking to our players always about the tempo of the game, not just the tempo how often we run plays, but the tempo how you play it. And we want to practice at full speed, and we want the game to be a part of it that slows down for them.
When you're adding through recruiting or transfers, Ron, how much thinking goes into your opposition? I mean, what your opponents do well? Sam Houston throws the ball, or Stephen F. Austin. How much goes into what you do well, but what will counteract what your opponents do well?
Well, yeah, that's more so. Again, that's on the schematic part of it. We're going to handle versus with the people we see, we really developed, I think, schematically the things we do on both sides of the ball, offensive, defensively, stuff that again, there's enough to counteract anything we do see, and we can pull out that parts of the package. Whether it be we got to be 8 man front of man coverage, or we got to be in too high, and we're going to play match coverage underneath where somebody's going to throw the ball or an air raid or run and shoot type offense. Those guys that just spread the ball out, throwing it, whatever, 50 times a game. So we got to be diversified in that part. How we're going to rush. We're an odd front team as base, but we're going to get into even front, and we're going to do those things, and then we'll try to cater also to the personnel we've got. Some of this last year we had a lot more defensive linemen, so we're going to play a lot more practice with 4 down. Why? Because you got to get the best players on the field that you got. But those all things all come into play when you're creating that scheme that you're trying to do.
And a player's intelligence, I call it functional intelligence, to be able to learn quickly and be able to make adjustments on the run. That's really important. You're going to find out in spring quickly how quickly the players can absorb what you're trying to do, because their ability to implement, to learn something quickly and implement, that tells you how multiple you can be.
Correct. Yeah. And then when we start, like right now, we're before spring, we're trying to meet 30 minutes a day, Monday through Thursday, to try to create some of that FBI, football intelligence, and you got to really teach the game, not only the game, but why you make decisions, why are we making this call, what's the situation we're probably calling this in, and you're trying to use the time right now to educate those young men. And that's a big part also of spring practice, educating why you're doing certain things.
As you go into spring, Ron, I know you're going to fill some holes from last year, but do you start with a quarterback, Deshae Lander, and you got Juice Marston, I'm very familiar with, had a really good year. Why is 2016 right now look to be promising?
I think one of the biggest thing is that we're probably as hungry as we've been since I've been there. The way last year went, we had a lot of things go wrong, and everybody was pretty much disappointed, from the coaches to the players, of how we ended the season. And right now we have a little spark, how we're conducting weights and meetings and everything, and you're starting to see the hunger back. And that's one of the biggest obstacles of I think you win 2 championships in a row. You can say whatever you want. The hardest thing to fight is the complacency, and maybe there was some of that. I guess I'll shelf it. As me, and say, hey, it starts with me, and I drive the train. So we've got to. I think we've got to embrace the fact that we're here, and we always got to stay on a mission to get something done. And I think our kids are embracing that right now.
It's such a fine line between success and failure, and you think you're doing the same thing, but it could just be a little here and a little there. And that's a season like you had last year was obviously an aberration when you look at when you look at the record. But it does get your feet back on the ground, bring you back to basics, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh no, it does. And again, when you do those, after you won 2, you got to come back and you got to evaluate every part of your program, from strength conditioning to academics to whatever. And that's another thing. Again, it took a big part of our recruiting, that we want to recruit also intelligent players. You want to recruit intelligent players that can know what you're trying to get done on the football field as well.
In the last minute or so, with camp, with spring practice, you're going to have a camp as well, a camp for coaches and everything.
Yeah, we have a high school clinic. That'll be on March 19th on a Saturday. We'll match it with the spring practice, so we have practice that day. So we'll do some clinic talks, and then we'll have a break to actually see some of these things go into action, and then we'll finish it up with a long talk the rest of the day. And it's been a great atmosphere. I think it's been a great situation for the guys that have come down there. And I think all the coaches we've had in the past have really appreciate the type of clinics we put on, because it's really hands-on and kind of give them everything.
Love clinic season. Even if you're not doing a particular system, you learn what the other guys are doing.
Right.
You never learn too much. That's March the 19th, the Southeastern Coaching Clinic. Spring practice for them starts March the 8th. And mention your coaching website.
Oh, yeah, we do have ronrobertsfootball.com. It's for high school, junior college. It's for coaches trying to grow. And it's really what I've always said when we started out in recruiting was we wanted to be the high school coach's best friend. So if a high school coach wants to visit our place, we're going to let them in. And they're going to come in and get total access to anything they want. Whether it be film, meetings, whatever else. We'll make ourselves available to them. And so a couple years ago, I started a website, and it's a blog where I blog on there, just some situational stuff, running a program, things like that. But there's a forum board on there, also if they can ask questions, and we try to get me or one of the coaches to answer them if they ask a schematic question, technical question. And then they can pay also if they want to watch the video, because it takes some money. But there's a membership; they can join a membership, and there's over 400 videos now of college coaches or NFL coaches talking and covering schematics to fundamentals.
That's Coach Ron Roberts. Take advantage of everything that they provide for you at Southeastern Louisiana. Thank you, Ron, for being here with us today. We appreciate that so much. Parents, you owe yourself a visit to Hammond. This is Prep Recruiting Insider here at NOLA Motorsports Park in Avondale. We're going to be right back after this timeout. This is Prep Recruiting Insider, PRI.